What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a very special video for you. It's going to be a mini course on how to start your own marketing agency, inclusive of all the basics. I've got for you laying the foundation, some mindset gems, value propositions, how to put yourself on the map with branding, how to network, how to build confidence, and finally how to eliminate the bullshit out of your life. The lessons for this mini course are extracted from my free community, Agency Architecture. If you want to go ahead and join, the link is in the description below. So if you're watching and want to start your own business or marketing agency, this video is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to phase 1, lesson 1 of Agency Architecture, from someone who's actually ran and continually running a marketing agency. So today's lesson is called Laying the Foundations. Socrates said the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. So let's get the formalities out the door. Welcome to Agency Architecture. They wouldn't let me call it the No Bullshit Agency course. My name is Lewis Evett and I've been running my digital media marketing agency for the past 5 years. We've worked with some of the biggest and the best. I built my agency from the ground up with the main principle being honesty and transparency. So let's start with that. The reality is that hard decisions make for an easier life. You've taken the first step in your journey as an agency owner, trusting a guy you've never met before over the internet to teach you how to make internet money. The thing is, it's really not that hard. I myself have no qualifications. I went from being a professional rugby player 1 minute to having a bad injury, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling with no qualifications, thinking, what am I gonna do next? I've made all the mistakes of building an agency, so you don't have to. For transparency, this is not a get rich quick course. I don't promise to get your agency to 50K per month, but what I do promise is to give you the foundational basics to go on and progress from your current situation to having some additional cash in your pocket to continue to build your agency with more flexibility around your time. These lessons will be short, sharp, direct and to the point. The aim is to get you earning and learning in the most cost-efficient way possible. I have no idea of your skill set or capabilities. The bottom line is, to be a successful agency owner, you need to have some ingenuity and some creativity to pull things together and make it work. Best thing about running an agency is you can work from anywhere in the world, so you don't have to swap your time for money. I don't know about you, but my time is the most valuable thing to me, which is why I genuinely love what I do every single day. Most of the time, it's implementation of the information and skill set that you already have. It's just about actioning it. The final thing I would ask you to do, in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, is to distribute your personal mortal blow. That essentially means leave your ego at the door, forget everything you've already learned, trust the process, and most importantly, enjoy it. That way you will retain the information so much better and be more motivated to take action. The best way to conduct this course is to read and watch all the modules and take notes, then go through and complete the various tasks and action points. There is a loose order in which the course is delivered. However, feel free to jump back and forth if you feel more comfortable doing that. This is Agency Architecture. Your first task for today's lesson is to write a personal commitment statement outlining your goals for Agency Architecture. I want you to use this to hold yourself accountable for the future as you progress throughout the course. Today's lesson is called Mindset Gems and how to build an unstoppable mindset. The objective of today's lesson is to build you an unstoppable mindset, create a winner's mentality, and prep you for the work that is yet to come. I will precursor this module by saying there are lots of little mindset gems rooted throughout this whole course. These are just my favorite. I actually don't think building an unstoppable mindset is very hard. It requires a few very simple foundational structures along with the simplicity to execute those. It's important that we outline these from the start to allow you to complete the rest of the course fundamentals in the most efficient way possible. I've always had the opinion that the core of your mindset is just to do more than most. Humans are lazy. There's a herd mentality to just go through the motions. So mindset gem number 1 is to just do more than most. So what does that actually mean? Very simply, trying your best to develop your skills to just become 1% better each day. I guarantee you 99.9% of the rest of the population aren't even considering this. It would be easy to attach this piece of advice to a comparison, but my second gem is actually don't compare yourself to others. It's something I really struggled with when I first started my agency. I was so concerned about what other people were doing around me, it actually detracted away from my own goal and journey. If you get hung up comparing yourself to others, you're most definitely going to progress in the wrong direction. You won't enjoy the process and you're just going to create a toxic mindset. When it comes down to it, we're on this planet for a very short window of time, and the constant is that we will be born and we'll die. In a generation or two, you'll be forgotten about. So my advice is to not worry about what people around you are doing and just focus on yourself, because in the end, it doesn't really matter that much anyways. My third mindset gem is self-awareness. It's always important to take feedback. I find this one especially a hard pill to swallow as someone who's a bit of a predisposed leader, outgoing, generally loud. In my early years setting up my business as a young adult, I did what every 19 to 20-year-old does, thinking I was right all the time. It's so important that as you scale your business, you listen to your team, the people you trust, friends and clients. My old reaction to feedback would be to take it as criticism, when then actually I just need to listen to it and take it as feedback. Furthermore, see how you can implement that feedback and take it on board to better understand your process, to better improve your service offering and delivery. To take feedback effectively, we need to be self-aware. This is what I call active consciousness, being in touch with your own emotions and having the ability to regulate them, which in turn will aid you to make the necessary steps to implement feedback. To summarize your reaction to feedback and criticism, whatever you want to call it, it should not be to retaliate, but instead how you can better on whatever you're receiving feedback on. My fourth mindset gem is winner's mentality. It's important to have a winner's mentality, and I think that's a really broad phrase to me. But what does that actually look like? Well, I think that's whatever you're doing, just do it to succeed, do it to win. You need to be ruthless and dedicated to whatever task you're undertaking, whether that's mowing the lawn or pitching the biggest proposal of your life. If you set out for failure, then you will fail. How we do one thing is how we do everything. Stay savage, stay hungry, and stay dedicated. Mistakes are good. It's a childish mentality to think that mistakes are bad. They are good. As you grow your agency, I encourage you to make mistakes, whether they be on purpose or not. Make them, learn from them, and put processes in place to ensure they don't ever happen again. It's better to make these sooner rather than later, so the price isn't too high that you have to pay. My last mindset gem is called Kaizen. This is a phrase coined by the Japanese samurai. It essentially means a mindset of continually growing and bettering oneself. As an agency owner, you are never perfect, neither is your product, delivery, or any of the aspects of your business. At least that should be your view. Always on the search for constant improvement. If you don't, someone else will. The task that I want you to complete after today's lesson is to reflect on your current mindset obstacles and write them down, and the specific strategies from this lesson that you will use to overcome them. A couple of resources that you can use for this is a book called Atomic Habits or a podcast called The Gary Vee Audio Experience. Today's lesson is all about value propositions. As Aristotle said, quality is not an act, it is a habit. By the end of this module, the objective is to have a firm understanding of what a value proposition is, why it's important, and how to create one. So this is arguably one of my favorite lessons to teach. Even if you don't have the best product possible, you can still have a great value proposition. I've always built my agency's value proposition around great customer service. If you give them this as a core delivery, then even if you make mistakes within the service, which are bound to happen, then you'll still retain them as a customer. So, what is a value proposition? A value proposition is more than a catchy slogan. It's not even the hook that you hear everyone speaking about. It's a clear statement that explains how your service solves the client's problems or improves their situation. It delivers specific benefits, tells the ideal customer why they should buy from you and not from the competition. This is one of the more in-depth lessons, as I believe without a bomb-proof value proposition, you don't have a business. A few examples of a value proposition which my agency uses are the following. Number 1, guaranteed first page ranking with SEO services, and number 2, guaranteed 2.5 ROAS on all ad services. So why is a value proposition important? A value proposition is there to essentially give the customer a sense of relief. It's a psychological element of the offer. You want them to part with their money. You do that by showing them the potential results which we know you can deliver for them, but you're also making them feel better about spending that money because you're essentially willing to die on a sword for the value proposition. Whatever your value proposition is, make sure it's achievable, of course, but it also needs to excite the client and make them willing to part with their cash. So, the anatomy of a strong value proposition. Let's break down what a strong value proposition is. Number 1 is clarity. Is it easily understood? Number 2 is relevance. Does it solve the customer's problem or improve their situation? Number 3, quantifiable value. What are the specific benefits? And number 4, differentiation. How does it stand out from the competition? So how do we identify your value proposition? Before you can use your VP to sell to a customer, you need to identify what it is, of course. I will always tell my clients to stick to these 3 simple rules. So number 1, what do you offer that no one else offers? Number 2, which aspects of your service are hard to imitate? And number 3, what can you do better than anyone else? If you can answer 2 of the 3 above questions, then you're off to a great start. If you can answer 3 out of 3, then that's the holy grail, and you're off to creating a great value proposition. So how do we craft a value proposition? You're going to start with a headline that captures the main benefits of your service. Remember the anatomy of a strong value proposition when doing this. In 2 to 3 sentences, explain what you offer, who it's for, and why it's useful. Simple, clear, and concise. List the key benefits of the service, and if possible, add a visual element that supports the message. This could be a past case study, a testimonial, crushing a client's limiting beliefs that they may have about working with you. It's really important that your value proposition is in as many touch points as possible within your service, on your website, in proposals that you send out, in social media, in pitches. We want you to be known by your value proposition. In summary, your value proposition will constantly evolve and change as your agency grows. Whatever it changes to is irrelevant as long as you follow the above structure. Be client orientated when offering the value proposition, and remember, the value proposition isn't just there to tell the clients what you do, it's also there to tell them why you matter. You have 2 tasks for today's lesson. Number 1 is to complete a value proposition canvas, noting down the potential value propositions for your agency. Number 2 is, once you've decided on a VP, prepare a 1-minute video to pitch to the rest of the community, detailing your value proposition. A good resource which I'd recommend to help you with this is to read Alex Hormozi's $100 Million Leads. It's a book that I really enjoyed reading and I think can massively help with a value proposition build out. The website and branding is the core of any business. It's essentially your shop front to show all your customers, current and potential, exactly what you do, why and how you do it. You've got the skills, you've got the knowledge, but you're invisible online. Many agency owners I speak to have expressed the feeling of being the industry's best kept secret. Remarkable at your craft, yet lacking visibility. The answer is staring you right in the face. So the power of a well-designed website. I can't tell you how to build a full website. That's a course within itself. What I can tell you is that a website isn't just a platform, it's a 24/7 salesperson. It's where the magic of your brand comes to life, where your value proposition is showcased, and where you convert visitors into leads. The best platform I have found for a portfolio and service-based business is Squarespace. It's super easy to use and you can literally build your own site within a day or so. Who knows, you may even offer it as a service one day. So a little tip, if you're looking for an awesome Squarespace designing course, then I'd recommend checking out 6 Figure Design Club by my friend Sam Crawford. He teaches you how to build professional Squarespace sites from the ground up. You can use the link in your worksheet for a little bit of a discount. The second part of this lesson is branding, the heartbeat of any agency. Humans are very sadly superficial creatures. We make up our minds 99% of the time on whether we like something or not by how it looks. How can you pitch your service to a client for your brand if it isn't looking professional? There is an element of you have to look the part. No matter how good my services have been or how many case studies I have to back them up, my agency's brand image is always something that I've noticed clients pick up on, no matter the size of what their business is or how much money I'm charging them. The core of a business's branding is its logo. From there, you can go on to design things like emails, signatures, letterheads, and anything else you might need. Out of all my time running an agency, I've played around with so many design softwares like Adobe and InDesign, but the one that stands out to me by far and the most simplest to use is Canva. It's super easy to use and you'll be able to create a logo using it and loads of other cool things on social media like posts and graphics. You can even edit videos in there. A little bit of a summary from today's lesson. I call this part of the business setup business manifestation. It's really inspiring when you see your logo planted on your website. It will give you purpose and drive, and when you first see it on what's to come and what needs to be done, it draws a clear line in the sand that there is no turning back essentially. You have some simple tasks from today's lesson. Number 1 is to draft a blueprint of your website. Outline the pages and content you'll need. Number 2, to supplement that, is to create a branding kit on Canva. Include your logo, color scheme, and font choices. 2 really simple tasks that are gonna really set this business in stone. So this is all about understanding inbound versus outbound. Unlike outbound leads, which are often cold and unqualified, inbound leads are those that come to you. They're typically more interested and easier to convert because they're already showing interest in your services. So networking's role. Networking isn't just exchanging business cards, it's about forming relationships that can lead to a high quality inbound leads. I've found when networking, there are a couple of key principles that I follow. Number 1, putting myself in as many rooms as possible with the right people. And number 2, networking in circles which are above my own status, whether that be social or financial. So here's how you enter those circles. To network with people in higher circles, you need to offer one of the following two things to them. So number one, connect with connectors. We all know that one person who knows everyone. Get in with them and naturally doors will open up for you. Number two, don't go for the hard sell. You need to establish yourself as a person of value. You need to be able to offer them knowledge or learnings that money can't simply buy. This then builds trust, rapport, and then you become one of them. Make sure people come to you because you're an authority figure within whatever service your agency is specializing in. Become the person for that service. A little bit of a top tip for you is to be yourself. I see so many people, especially within the Wi-Fi money space, trying to be something they aren't. Be genuine and transparent. It really does shine through. Have a genuine value and want to help people. Provide value to them, and I promise you that the business will come. The higher circles you gain access into, the more money there is, the more business owners there are, and more founders there are for you to be able to sell your services to. So here are a few of my networking strategies. So all of the above is all very well and good, but how are you going to actually implement it? You have a traditional networking like in-person events. I usually find these are quite few and far in between. There are local ones such as the Chambers of Commerce or local business networking events. The only issue is that you sort of pigeonhole yourself. You become into like a localized market or mindset. I'd encourage you to think bigger. There are a number of online communities and members clubs where you're able to find people who align with you a little bit more. With these online communities, the networking is borderless and not as restricted as more localized events and clubs. I am part of 3 of the following clubs, which I'd recommend that you look into. Number 1 is Gentry K Club. Number 2 is a club called YIM. And number 3 is a club called Velai. These are all online communities positioned towards young entrepreneurs, travel and founders, which is something I've always gravitated towards. They have a diverse communities for people from marketing, e-commerce, finance and Web3, lots more. As much as I hate to say it, don't discount LinkedIn. Yes, you could say this is more of an outbound marketing strategy, but LinkedIn is one of the biggest opportunity makers for organic reach compared to something like Facebook or Instagram. I'd advise posting once or twice per week, telling people what services you offer, giving them free value and advice, creating some connections and nurturing relationships. Again, that helps support you as being an authority figure, offering credibility and more touch points for your clients and connections to cross-check against. A top tip, as cliche as it sounds, always ensure you have an elevator pitch ready. You never know who you can bump into. Generally, with high performers, they know exactly what they want and they don't have much time to spare. You need to be concise in who you are, what you do, and how you do it. A summary for today's lesson. Remember, networking is a long-term strategy. It's about building relationships that might not bear fruit immediately, but can yield significant opportunities further down the line. Always be on the lookout for new opportunities to push your services. Stay genuine, be patient, and keep nurturing those connections. The tasks for today's lesson are the following. To develop a networking action plan. Develop, plan and identify at least 3 virtual or physical networking events that you can attend within the next month. Set specific goals for each event, whom you want to meet, what you hope to learn, and how you're going to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And then task number 2, most importantly, add me and connect with me on LinkedIn. Drop me a message. I'd love to chat and hear about how you're finding this course. Today's lesson is all about confidence building. It's an old saying that goes, lions do not lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. The objective of today's lesson, following on from how to build an unstoppable mindset, the objective of this lesson is to teach you how to build confidence and have conviction in the service that you are selling. So I already know the type of person you are. You're someone who is confident but hasn't necessarily unlocked it yet. I know that because you were confident enough to buy this course and take the leap into trying to better and progress your current situation. How do I know that you have not yet reached your potential? Because you also wouldn't be buying this course if you knew what true confidence was. Confidence comes in many different forms. To be a successful agency owner, you need to be confident in many different ways, whether you're a confident leader, salesperson, or just confident within yourself. It's an invaluable skill that will complement your services. So what I want to do is speak to you about confidence versus arrogance. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. In the journey of running a successful agency, it's crucial to project confidence without tipping over into arrogance. So confidence explained, portraying self-assurance based on skills, experience and knowledge. Emphasis on being open to learning and growth. Arrogance defined is exhibiting an attitude of superiority, often without justification. Discussion on how arrogance can lead to closed-mindedness and hinder growth. So in that case, what's arrogance? That to me is exhibiting an attitude of superiority, often without justification. As I mentioned, confidence can be distributed via many different channels, but the synopsis of someone who's confident is pretty unilateral throughout all channels. Let's focus on how to be a confident leader. So some characteristics of a confident leader are as follows. Self-awareness, understanding one's strengths and weaknesses. Number 2 is empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, followed with assertiveness versus aggressiveness. Communicating needs and boundaries clearly without overpowering others. So here's a few ways to identify confidence blocks. We can't be confident 100% of the time. There are a few blockers that can affect our confidence. This then can affect our output, motivation, success rate, and ability to deliver the best service for our clients. The quicker and easier you can identify those blocks, the easier it is to do something about them. Some examples of confidence blocks could be fear of failure, imposter syndrome, fear of judgment. Don't worry, everyone is in the same boat with this, even me. On the surface, I'm an extremely confident person, but I still have limiting beliefs. Like everyone, the difference is being self-aware enough to identify them and close them out to not affect your work or your mindset. So how do you build confidence? Knowledge is power. Whatever service you're specializing in, make sure you know it inside and out. Confidence comes from a point of preparation. Say to yourself, whatever room you go in, you're going to know the most and be the best prepped in that room on that service. Crush your goals. Set yourself small goals, small achievable goals, that is, over a long period of time equal large goals, is a real confidence booster when you smash your targets out the park. Admit what other people think. Lions don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. I said it at the start of this lesson. That essentially means don't let people who bear no influence on the direction you are heading have an opinion that negatively affects your confidence. They are irrelevant. The more successful you become, the more clients you have, the more money you make, the more opinions people have about you. I generally find negative opinions come from jealousy, so go make them more jealous. So these are my top confidence hacks. Body language. We talk with more than just our mouths. Body language will help you command the room. Always look people in the eye when speaking to them. Make sure your posture is good when seating and use hand gestures to emphasize points without appearing nervous or overbearing. It's such a simple thing that you can do that will help you appear more confident. Number 2 is stay active. Such a simple thing, but the more active you are, the more endorphins that flow and the more happy you become, the less anxious you are. I'm not a PT, but I definitely notice a difference in my confidence when I'm in a proper training routine versus when I'm not. Dare to fail. We need to get you into a mindset of reframing failure. Lack of confidence comes mainly from the fear of failure or not succeeding. For you to smash this course, I need you to be conscious of failure, but accept that it's okay. Look at it as an opportunity, not a setback. Calculated risk taking is important when running any business, let alone a marketing agency. Resilience builds confidence. As someone who's taken a lot of risks and paid the price for it, I can honestly say that I've come through on the other side for the better. A summary of today's lesson. To build confidence, the only way is to get out there and do it. I can give you all the advice and structure I possibly can, but it's for you to have the confidence to go and act on it. You have the potential, now it's time to go and execute. Stick to the process, you'll be just fine. You can do this. The tasks from today's lesson are the following. Note down any parts of your personality that you are not confident about. This is the self-awareness element of confidence. Next to each point, note down using the above lesson how you're going to improve that element. If you're struggling on a solution, feel free to reach out to the rest of the community. Task number 2 for today is to record your elevator pitch for your services and post it in the community. This as a task within itself takes a lot of confidence and courage, but don't be afraid, we have an amazing community to give you feedback. The final lesson of phase 1 is all about eliminating the limit distraction, limit error, and making the most money possible. The objective of this lesson is to teach you how to make data-driven decisions and how to eliminate all the non-relevant stimulus and information when problem solving and organizing your day. We've laid the foundations, shown you how to build an unstoppable mindset, taught you how to build a value proposition, how to network and build confidence. You're nearly ready to incubate your agency. One thing left, a short and simple lesson. It's time to eliminate As we delve deeper into service offerings and client interactions, it's essential to cut through the white noise of distractions that can impede you in your progress and, most importantly, profitability. This lesson is about prioritizing effectively, setting realistic goals, and maintaining transparency and ethics in all dealings. So here are the problems. Stimulus overload. There is an overwhelming amount of information and distractions, especially on social media, a place where we'll be spending a lot of our time that can lead to decision fatigue and errors. The cost of distraction. Lack of focus can not only lead to mistakes, but missed opportunities that results in reduced income. It's as simple as that. You have to be on the ball 24/7, otherwise someone else will come along and do it for you. So how to eliminate the I want to turn you into a machine. One of my biggest pieces of feedback I get is how good my work ethic is and my ability to achieve a huge workload in a short amount of time. I'm hyper focused on getting the task done. I do this by being ultra goal orientated. I use a technique called SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals for clear direction and focus. Specific. Goals should be clear and specific, so there is no ambiguity about what you're trying to achieve. A specific goal answers questions like, what do I want to accomplish? Why is the goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? Measurable. Goals should have criteria for measuring progress. If a goal is measurable, it's easier to track progress and stay motivated. A measurable goal answers questions like how much, how many, how will I know when it's accomplished? Achievable. Goals should be realistic and attainable to be successful. It's important that the goal challenges you, but that it's still possible. An achievable goal answers the question, how can I accomplish the goal? And is it realistic? Relevant. The goal should matter to you and align with the other relevant goals. A relevant goal should drive forward the overall objectives. A relevant goal answers yes to these questions. Does this seem worthwhile? Is it the right time? Does this match my other efforts and needs? And finally, time-bound. Every goal should have a deadline to focus on and something to work toward. The part of a SMART goal criteria helps to prevent everyday tasks from taking priority over your longer-term goals. A time-bound goal answers these questions. When? What can I do in 6 months from now? What can I do in 6 weeks from now? What can I do today? So what I want to do a little bit now is speak about day structure. Something that really helps me with staying on task and not getting distracted is by structuring my day effectively. This can be flexible to whatever works for you, but an example of my day would be deep work from 8 AM to 12 PM where my phone is on Do Not Disturb. I'm locked in. No answering texts or scrolling through social media. From 1 PM to 4 PM, all I do is my sales and client calls in 30-minute blocks. Having a set structure for my day really helps me stay focused. Make sure you're planning time for things that really matter to you. Don't forget simple stuff like lunch and a gym. The final thing I want to speak to you about in today's lesson is data-driven decision making. One thing I really struggled with when making decisions for my clients or my agency is when I listen to too many opinions. I have come to terms now of making 90% of my decisions based on data. It really doesn't lie, so much so that my agency now positions itself as a data-driven agency. Making decisions based on data is much easier than listening to someone else's opinion based on assumption. Time at the end of the day is money. In summary of today's lesson, to run a successful agency, you need to cut through the clutter and be hyper-focused on goal execution. The formula to make money is actually very simple. Limit distraction plus limit error equals client success equals making the most amount of money possible. One of the biggest traits I see in any successful agency owner is they are hyper-focused on the client success, which therefore creates scalability through streamlining your operations and deliverables and subsequently agency success. Don't get sucked into distractions. If you do, you just become like everyone else. The tasks for today's lesson are as follows. Create a day structure and note this down. Try it for a week and see if it helps limit distractions and increases efficiency. Task number 2 is to download the app, stay focused, and try locking the social media that you won't be using for work to stop the mind-numbing scrolling. So there you have it, guys. You are well on your way to starting your own marketing agency. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot, and keep posting your questions in the comments. Till next time.
It sounds so nice.